Well, let's see, Trina. I don't know if this is going to actually work, but it
I think it
says
is. It says
that
got it.
we are live.
Yes,
Wow.
yes,
Uh,
yes.
yeah, it's the old saying, if there is a will, there is a way. So,
Yes.
yes, we found the way. We found the
Uh-huh.
way. So,
Yes, we
hey,
did.
look at that. It's amazing how people have actually found us. So,
Absolutely.
favor
Soul tribe
everybody.
can we cannot be kept apart. Yes.
Yes, yes, this is the Soul
Hmm.
Tribe. This is the hardcore Soul Tribe group. So thank you everyone. I mean, we usually have a lot more, but people didn't know. Today was a little surprise. The looks like
Yes.
there's a purge underway, and apparently I got caught in something that I'd posted 2 years ago, but has now changed. But we only speak favor. We are in their house, so we do our best to try to abide by the rules. And sometimes that's a little difficult. So, Trina, how are you? I hear you on your microphone is doing that thing again.
Is it better now?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's so weird. I wonder what we have going on here. Is that
It's
better?
weird. You want to try to maybe plug in, and
Hold
then
on.
plug out, So I just want to say hello, everybody. How are you all? So good to see you, Soul Tribe. You have to listen, y'all are some dedicated people. There is no doubt about it. But yeah, thank you for rolling with the punches. Give me a little chance here as I update for everybody. And let me just kind of figure it's like this. If you be a moderator here, if you're in here now. So there we go. Uh,
Testing, testing. Can you hear me?
Now much better.
Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes, yes,
Wonderful.
absolutely.
Okay.
So let me see if it's saying that we're live here waiting. It keeps saying, are we live? Um,
I think we were. I had both my normal prompts that said,
okay.
got it. Let me check. I'm gonna look.
And it's still saying live. So I'm assuming we are live. So there we go. Are we live?
I'm gonna check right now.
Okay. You go and check it, and then we can see if we're live. Because I keep on seeing a blank screen, but I'm assuming that I could be wrong.
We're live.
We are live.
We are live.
Okay,
Hi
good.
everyone.
Hi everyone. How you doing?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a little odd because we are trying to get used to this new format, and it's if it says we're live, then and you can see Trina as well.
Yes, we are live. Emperor
Good.
Rex, we are live. Lucky Stone, you are live. Greetings and favor, Lucky Stone. Bosto. Yes, we are
Hello,
live.
Lucky
Hi,
Stone.
Deborah.
Good to see y'all. He's on the other channel too. What other are there two lives going?
I don't know. I see one here. Let me look. Let me see what we got going on here.
Pretty cool. If I
I
am.
can only see one on my notifications.
Okay. So we're just gonna roll with it. I can see the chat, and so
Yep, we're getting there.
interesting days upon us, Trina. Interesting days,
And thus we will prevail. And I think we signed up for this rodeo. So let's
Yeah,
just do this. Why not?
yeah, yeah.
You know, your beautiful book with the bee, and we were talking about all the synchronicities and the prosperity and the abundance and all the things just manifesting in my world. It's like Christmas time every day right now,
I
which
love
is
it.
ironic because the world is cuckoo and everything's upside down and backwards. But Wayne brought out the bee book, and literally I'll show y'all what I received from one of my clients the very same day.
A bee, a golden bee, no less.
A golden bee. A golden bee. Yes. So
Hmm.
there, and then when I was in Mexico, I kept seeing the seahorses and seahorses. It's like the universe is talking to us a lot right now, and I'm seeing all of these synchronicities with nature symbols and how they're merged into the occult. and like how the bee produces the golden elixirs honey and how we found it in the ancient tombs and it's still edible. This was used as medicine. It was a highly valuable thing. What do bees do? They buzz. They pollinate the entire world. It's a frequency. It's a golden frequency. And that golden frequency is attached to the angels and the angelics and all the variations of all those different kinds of light coming into our consciousness. And then I looked at the seahorse because I kept seeing it. And I actually went to my Oracle light deck and I pulled a card. I literally pulled the seahorse. And I think this message is for all of us right now. It's the seahorse. It says every seahorse has a unique coronet or a crown upon its head. No two are ever the same. It's like a fingerprint. They are always completely unique one from another. I trust in the uniqueness and the sacred beauty and the higher purpose and the perfect inner potential that I am. I now will surrender to the unconditional loving acceptance that spirit has for me, and that I heed the encouragement to become my true self. I do not need to adapt, compromise, or alter myself to be like anybody else. My true nature is divinely designed, and I seek to cast off ego concepts like tattered clothes.
Mm.
From that place of truth, I feel connected to my heart, and I can easily attract all that I desire from this place of authenticity and integrity. May all beings know such peace and comfort, and above all, love.
Not a coincidence.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
So we are on 2 different channels.
Are we really?
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Well, it was a backup channel. So, subscribe. If you're here, subscribe.
Absolutely.
That's what you have to do. You have to subscribe.
I'm on the Wayne Steiger. So
yeah. This one, and it's under Sun Anomaly of all things. Is that weird?
Yes, I'm noticing that too.
Yes.
Sun Anomaly.
The mainframe's going, what the hell are they doing?
We are the Sun Anomaly.
Like, wait a minute. This guy was, yeah. Well, favor everyone. We are a tight group. Everyone just give me a second. Because the way I kind of look at it, if you're here, then you should be a moderator. Because, the way I look at it, I mean, this is where it's at. So give me so everybody gets to be a moderator. So there you go. How's that? And David Castle, I thought I had you in there, you rascal. Okay.
You guys are the best.
All right. So I think I got everybody. Oh, there you are, Trina. I don't know. Can I trust you as a moderator?
Yeah, Queen of Courts too. She just popped on.
There she is as well. So, I'm trying to get everybody in here as well. So I think I got everyone. If you're not, then we'll look occasionally.
Love you guys. You guys are our rock. You are.
I mean, this is a hardcore group.
That's right.
That's how this is the way I look at it. This is the group that it's
the backbone.
Yeah, give me a second, everybody.
Yeah, y'all are strength in our foundation. We couldn't do this without you.
Ain't that a fact, Jack?
Mm-hmm.
So
hi, Gaia.
Gaia, how you doing? Miss Deborah, how are you doing?
Agent Queen.
Well, I think I got most. If I have missed you,
got them all, Wayne. Yeah, they're all blue and sparkly now. Yay!
Yeah, shine on, you crazy diamonds.
That is it. Abandon. He says smiley face. He's like, not me. Robin Redford. Let Robin. Oh,
okay, you have to give me a second here because I have to go into. Wait a minute. It's moving too fast, Trina. It's like I need.
They're like opportunity for a wrench on Wayne's. Woo-hoo!
I need the Evelyn Wood speed reading course. So,
Oh
man,
yeah,
they're how
they're
are y'all
pretty
find
darn
this? Is
good.
just so wonderful. Look at all these people coming
They're
in.
coming. They're finding their
Yeah,
way.
they
Oh, love
are.
you all so much. Hi,
So,
Jim
and I'm
Queen.
trying to run them down too. So y'all are like, trying to chase cats.
Yes,
It's like, slow down, man.
hey, can I read something else
Sure.
that was going on my mind? I'm like, I'll share with Soul Tribe. I love to read you guys my journal because my thoughts. Okay.
My journal, my thoughts.
That's it. I
Yeah.
do. So I was seeing, we started talking about the Lucifer interview and then the
Mm-hmm.
book of the bee. And
Mm-hmm.
the book of the bee is the symbol of the fleur de lis, which is the tattoo I have on my wrist. It's the same day of the book of the bee. I received a black vest with the bee on it, which I just showed you guys. The bee is a buzzing, it's a vibration, it's the honey, it's the gold. It's the golden frequency that the angels hold. They create the golden frequency that goes down into the bees, but that comes from above, from the lyre, from the true tree, which I see as the tree of life of humanity might be coming from lyre. The harp, the sound, the vibration of the frequency, the organic hive mind, the collective consciousness versus the one that's artificial and controlled by darkness and other beings from different trees. Your frequency is the key to the balance, all the negativity. Notice the killing of the bees. It's now in about 8 of our states. We need to send out healing frequency to the bees. Let the honey heal us all. Angels over Australia, it's time to set them free. Stop the torment of this nation. Flood its water with liberty, love, and compassion. May the light of inspiration fill us all and see the plan to make them fall. Corruption and greed has been the seed, but now we plant new ones and new trees. We will heal and remove the dark that they seek. We are the ones, the force, the love, and it is now time to activate our love through the dove. I see the dove is now turning into a phoenix. As the phoenix, we shall rise from the ashes using the minerals and the nature and the power of the spirit and the will and kick all their asses. Raising the fire, raising the frequency, the light. We are the ones bringing in the light. A spark or a flame is all that we need. Light fills the dark, and now we see. We were the ones that held the key. The dove to the phoenix, the bee to the tree, connecting these gifts with their golden frequencies. Together as one, emanating this buzz, we will be the ones who truly get it done. Remember, it is us, and together we won.
I like that.
We got to do this, and we're doing it every single day, obviously.
Obviously.
The ripples are going through the waters, Wayne.
And it's the old saying, all you really need is love. And really,
Yeah.
that's and it's sad when we live in a society where it's spoken that there's such tolerance and then there's such intolerance at the same time. I mean, it's the true epiphany of duality that we're now here. I mean, it used to be where okay, society was pretty much one way, morals, customs, etc. But today, all that has blended out.
Yes.
And I think that there's going to be a spiritual reawakening because I see everything right now is more of the flesh. It's, it's the flesh idea. And boy, isn't this an example when you see in one aspect what intelligence without spirit can do. Intelligence without spirit is very cold.
Yes.
It's very there is no leeway there. It is just the way it is, and woe be unto you if you trespass.
Yep.
Where spirit says, well, it's all learning and experience, and the way you learn is that you make mistakes, and you don't beat the person over the head with it. You just go, hey,
To me, spirit is a blending of two different aspects of creation. To me, it seems like it's the original thought. And then I see the receiver is the feminine part and it creates the image. And then I see that the end part of the spiritual part is the observer. It's the ability to perceive. And that perception and that observation is that connection with the feeling part through the soul. So I see it's all working together in different sections. But like you're saying, without that spirit, Adam could not rise. It was like a zombie. It was dead. It didn't have intellect. It didn't have the ability to create and observe and feel all at the same time. It was missing something.
Bingo. You know, watched this interesting movie. It was actually, I think, made back in the late 80s. Bill Pullman played the main role. He was basically a biologist, a botanist, and messing with the tribe. You see the Rainbow Warrior. I love you, David Baird.
Right.
He's my brother from another mother. And someone actually wrote to me and said, you know, because I had that visit on Friday, there was this smell of perfume, and I knew that it was from a time past. It reminded me primarily of the 50s. I can remember my grandmother, my aunts, and what have you. And then someone wrote and said, and whoever, now that they'll hear that, but I'll post this on the regular channel later, that she said it was your mom.
Wow.
And I hadn't thought about that, you know, but yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
because that makes sense. Yeah, the timeline makes sense. It's like that makes sense.
it was distinct. And
They
it
say
was
the spiritual goes back into the early 30s, younger 20s, and that would have been when she was having kids. That is about that time. That makes a lot of sense to me, because I don't know why, but it seems like they go back to that time, the prime of their life.
I probably remember the smell because it's what my mother wore, and being held up, as you know, as all mothers do with children, particularly young'uns, they, you know, I would have been well versed to the smell. So yeah, well, you know, and that's what's so beautiful. But the soul. So this movie was that Bill Pullman played this guy that was a botanist, and he was basically, he goes into the forest, the Amazonian rainforest and other places, and finds exotic plants. And in order to get there was another movie called The Medicine Man that was done. Sean Connery played in that role. It was, yeah, that was a great movie. And anyway, so he's contacted by this pharmaceutical company, and they want him to go down to Haiti. And he said, what is in Haiti? And they began to give you the background story that in Haiti, there they practice voodoo, Santa Maria. And if what I have heard, I've never been to Haiti, but I have talked to a lot of missionaries that have gone down there, and they say it's pretty spooky with spirits, because these spirits they're not anything to mess with. But there is a drug called the zombie drug. Now it's used in various forms as date rape drugs, those type of offshoots. In New Orleans, there was a problem about a year or two ago that if you had this powder blown into you, within 30 seconds, you're a zombie. You will literally be let off because there's nothing you can do. So he was down there, and he runs into this evil shaman. And this guy is a real dark priest. And they have a drug down there that if you are exposed to it in any part of your skin, you will be dead for all intents and purposes. But actually, you're not dead. there's nothing you can do. And there have been many reports of people that have the drug wears off within 12 hours. They're inside this coffin with 6 feet of earth on top of them. And I don't know if you know this, but if you have a wooden coffin, the dirt's going to cave in. So that is the ultimate horror, to wake up, you're already buried. And the thing is, you can't feel anything, but your mind is aware of everything. So anyway, and this evil shaman, when he would gather souls, and that's what he did, because once you get past that point of death, of that fear, they'll dig you back up, and you're basically a zombie for the rest of your life. He owns your soul. Anyway, and now that the reason why I watched it was because this is a different interpretation of the essence of why we're human. They believe down there that that the human soul is something that can be tangibly captured.
I think they're right.
It appears to be. I looked into it a little bit more, and we think that the Kabbalah, the Kabbalistic magic, the Golden Dawn, that primarily being premeditated from the Middle East, this comes from a whole different place. And this magic is like it apparently they own this island. I mean, if you leave the island, there is a connection that is broken, but if you get near it,
wow,
a human soul. And in the end, just to let everyone know how it goes, in the end, Bill Pullman, he has this vision. He's down in South America, and a medicine man comes up to him and he says, the spirits have a message for you and you must listen. Well, he's kind of a non-believer in anything, just plants, chemicals. And so the medicine man gave him some of what he uses to basically anesthetize people to get them into trances. So he's got a little gift, but the medicine man says, before you leave, you must drink this. And he's going, well, I don't think so. About that time, 2 of the king's cards come up, with sword in hand. So he changes his mind and he drinks this stuff. And so it sends him on to a spirit journey where he actually saw what was coming. And his spirit guide was the jaguar.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, like I said, it was a very interesting movie. If you get a chance, watch it. But what I got particularly in the end was how they freed the souls, because once the dark priest was basically dealt with, the souls were free at that point, but they had to be physically broken out of the vessel that they were contained in. And
That's I'm pretty sure that's the whole genie in the bottle.
You know what? Absolutely.
That's where all of that comes from. There's the genie in the bottle. This is it. This is where it comes from. This is truth. I know it. I don't know how I know it, but this was perfected in Atlantis. I remember that. There was definitely, we could put souls into different vessels. We could do this. I did it all the time.
Trina, here's a good question. When we think about Atlantis, I often wonder, it's the song by Donovan, the song Hail Atlantis. And, in the story, they realized catastrophe was coming. So they sent the 12 wise men out, each one carrying a wisdom.
And you know what that 12 wise men out was?
What?
Consciousness of the smartest of the 12. They downloaded their consciousness into the whales.
Lynn and I were talking about this firmament thing, water. We think that water is so confined to what we see on the terra firma. But I had someone write me, and they are a meteorologist. And she wrote and she says, well, Mr. Steiger, you do realize how much a cloud weighs, right? So the average cloud that you would see floating by, that cloud weighs several tons.
Absolutely.
And then if you think you've got a hurricane or a major storm, imagine, and then it began to really blow my mind. You have trillions of potential tons weight up in the air.
Absolutely.
Isn't that weird?
It's amazing,
So how does it stay up there?
right?
Yeah.
How does
Some
that
people
happen?
will say, well, it's raining, Steiger. What do you, but that's not my point. It's still being held up there prior to,
Dropping down.
yes,
Yeah,
thank you. Yes.
yeah. And
Yeah.
sometimes it never comes down. It evaporates. So I mean, it does all different things. It manifests in a
I tell you, when I moved here to Colorado, I saw my first winter of phenomenon that I'd never seen before, where snow doesn't melt, it vaporizes.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
that's what I'm looking at and I'm going, now that's some weird stuff right there. Check that out.
Absolutely. I would have been thinking the same thing.
Speaking
Whoa.
of something else, the pictures of the two pretty putty cats you had on your windowsill.
Could you believe it? I keep having all these run-ins with the bobcats. It seems like they're at all of my properties I'm taking care of. I see them laying on the patio, sunbathing. I run into them. I had a face-to-face with one a few weeks ago in a courtyard, and I was like, oh boy, don't eat me, And then yesterday, the two babies sleeping on
Oh,
the
that
lawn.
was just precious. I
They're
mean, it's like
so
you just
cute.
wanted to go up and pet them, you know?
Oh
It's like,
yeah.
oh,
Oh
yes.
gosh. And they were so wrapped into each other. They looked like a heart. They were melded into each other. Oh, it was so
It was
precious.
beautiful, folks. I mean, and it
Really
was just,
bobcats.
yeah, yeah. It was like, they so cool.
It was cool. It was amazing. And my clients were like, oh my gosh. I was like, look, there's bobcats in the window. They're like, no way. I'm like, come look. Yeah. It was amazing.
Yes, the thing about give me 1 second here, Trina. I'm still trying to add people as they continue to come in. Thank you,
Hi,
everybody.
soul tribes.
We said hello earlier, but a lot of you have moseyed on in, so we thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So
They're coming in. They're just
yeah,
working.
it's just and for until further notice, we'll be here. So yeah, that it's a 7-day penalty on the other side.
Yeah.
So,
Deborah says when the hydrogen and the oxygen combine into water, they fall as rain. Before they are lightweights.
so that's interesting. So when we think of the elementals, right, Deborah, that's something I see is that there's a dance in there. I mean, how many videos, Trina, have they posted I've seen out there where the dragons are now being caught in thunderstorms?
Yes, it's crazy. I that is amazing to me. I'm like, whoa, whoa.
Yeah,
We're actually able to see what's really going on. That's part of the veil coming down.
I think
That's
it is.
Oh, it
You know,
is. I think so too. I think so.
reading this book, the Book of the Bee. Wow, I mean, some strange stuff is happening, and but I told you when I opened up Nathan's package with these that I felt this rush. I mean, it was quite interesting. But
All
my
I can say about that is thank you, Nathan.
he
They
is so
already had
talented.
you upstairs on the radar, wondering which team you were going to sign up. And when you connected to Team Angelic, it ruffled so many feathers, Wayne. And he sent you those protection medallions right around that time. I'm like, Nathan, you are a good, intuitive man. Thank you, Nathan. Really,
he
really, that
he
was perfect timing, buddy.
yeah. Actually, yes, it was a strike. And actually, the first one was when Jennifer and I did that thing on her
On our
grandfather.
grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this one was on the Adrenochrome. So I don't know. But, when I think about this veil coming down,
Mhm.
it's quite interesting. One of the things that I always remembered in my Bible's days was in the book of Matthew. Believe it is the 26th chapter, right around there. I think it is. Anyway, it says that at the moment that Christ gave up his spirit, that two things happened. The veil was rent in the temple from the top to the bottom, and that there were people who were seen in Jerusalem that had come out of the grave carrying their bodies. Now, that's a weird sight because you're saying, well, if they're carrying their bodies, then what the heck did they look like? But the veil thing is something, I had a Hebrew scholar teach me this, that in the temple that was there at the first of the turn of the modern era was, this thing was approximately 12 inches thick. In other words, no human could, number one, tear it, but the point was that it started at the top down to the bottom. So I always think of that as the veil basically kind of unzipping at that point. Now, it makes me wonder if the veil was unzipped at that point.
You know what I saw when you said that, Wayne?
What?
I literally saw, I keep getting references like that. You know, our guardian angels, it says that we all have a guardian angel.
Mm-hmm.
What if the guardian angel is the higher self? So what I literally just saw was a guardian angel. That was you. It's yours. It's you. I literally saw when you rent the veil from top to bottom, it literally, I saw the angel come into the top of the head and rip apart the physical body. And it was new. It was a light body. That's what I saw.
And when you said that, I saw the scene in Cocoon. Remember when they came out of their cocoon, they were light beings.
That's what I saw. The angel, when it ripped the veil of the human body, it brought forth the light being. That's what I saw. It was like lightning.
Yeah.
Light just ripped the veil. That's what I saw. So there might be some difference. Yeah. I'm like, there might be
It's
something.
like,
I think on that one for a little bit.
it's like, okay. Say what?
In the temple, he entered the temple. The temple's a reference of the physical body.
And it's also representative of the feminine.
The mother, yes.
Yeah. And and isn't it odd that is so, it has been completely stricken, carried away, because, and as I'm sitting here thinking about it, and all the religious studies I've done, the temples were primarily to the goddesses.
Yeah, because I do think that the goddess literally has the fastest way to manifest in this reality is always going to come through the mother, because this is her realm. Now, the ideas to conceive and direct that matter and utilize those magical parts of you come from the father. See, this is how I see it, because the inspiration is the masculine point. It's the fire. It's the shooting part that shoots into the water, and then the mother manifests it. So if you want anything to manifest, you have to use the mother, because she controls matter. That's her thing. But the inspiration and the ideas, those are coming from the spirit, the father part. So I see when you make those two one, when you can understand the spiritual fire and the power of the magnetics of the mother, when you can do that push pull and balance that, and that's when you activate creation. That's how I see it. It's like I'm working with both, but it goes through the mother. When I see it manifest in this world, that's mother. It's period. That's her. That's mama. Hi, mom.
And that's why I see the threat of, this is where I see the threat of whatever is, what you would say is the spiritual essence of what our technology today. It defines itself as more as androgynous than it does anything else. Now, here's what I've been thinking about, particularly with, this book, this book has set off so many, it's like turning over dominoes, it's like, but so, androgyny in its purest aspect would be technology. Mm-hmm. And the danger that I see in this, and maybe it's not a danger, I don't know, it's something to talk about, would it be defined as the fact that if androgyny as a way of being, of existence, it's not the blend of the male or the female. It's really the elimination of both. So what are we dealing with? Is it more of an automaton in the aspect that,
Think about it. When you pull a positive and a negative charge that are equally as powerful into each other, what happens? It goes into 0 point, right?
mm-hmm.
0 point. There's no more friction. There's no more push. There's no more pull. It's all just, it goes into 0 point, which is the be still and know that I am God part. So you're getting out of matter at that point.
So would androgyny then be considered into a higher plane?
I think it is, because you're out
It's
of
interesting.
pull, that you're out of the push and pull part. You'd be in the period of what I would see would be the true definition of rest. And then as soon as you fire up one of those positive or negative engines of thought in the consciousness, it's going to fire back up that polarity again. So I think it's a balance.
That's interesting. Hey, Big Al's working on the porch. That brother, that ain't a porch, man. That is a freaking ark, I think you're building.
Yes,
Big
hi,
Al's
Al.
porch is like that would hold all of us, Al. You do know that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or
Mhm.
party
Party at Al's house. That's all I gotta say. But
Oh,
getting
yeah.
back to this point, because the only thing that it's much like the Hermetica stated about, if you don't consider yourself equal to God, then you have nothing in common with God.
Correct.
Okay. So God, as we define it, to talk on one side says, well, it is in fact the blending of both the male and the female. But I argue that, well, if that's the case, then it's committed, it's schizophrenic, because it's forgotten mama.
Mhm.
And that means it's living in a delusional state. Now, the other argument is to say that, well, why do you need anything but a God that would be defined in the masculine sense?
See, this is where my mind goes into the visible realms versus the invisible. Because to me, it seems the spiritual part of us, the father part, the masculine part, which is the inspiration, it's like sperm is what I see. That's what creates everything. It's got to impregnate that egg, and that's the mother part. See, when both of them are together, it creates life and motion and movement.
That would define then is that the feminine, again, where I think that we're under this delusion in the modern age, is that maybe it may be the only thing, Trina, that can save us. And I want to ask you, as
That would make sense. This is her realm.
and maybe the time will come when all humanity will get down on respectful knee. It's not
This is the
bowing
thing.
down.
They have trained us to worship God in the masculine sense. And the
Yes.
God of this world is truly the manifestation of the material realm, which is the mother. Mother is matter.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's because
It has to be her here. But see, the thing is, our true spiritual fire comes from the unseen world, and that's the marriage. That's the marriage, when you can connect to the invisible parts of creation, which is the primordial substances, the templates, the architect. If you can vibrate at a resonance and pull in those information codes from the unseen light of the masculine part of creation, the female will build it and make it manifest for
So
you.
there's my question, and I ask you in from a male's perspective. It's something I've asked Lynn this, and she looked at me and she said, well, I never really have given it that much thought. So I can only perceive this realm through the lens of a male.
Yes.
I mean, no matter how much I try, no matter how much I read, no matter how much my mind or spirit is liberated, it's still, I perceive everything as male. Now, here's the thing that gets me, because I see the injustice that humanity has been tricked into believing. There is the book that, Jesus was a woman. a female. There is in certain circles and beliefs that Mary Magdalene was in fact the true Christ, that the Christ could only have been represented as a woman.
This is exactly what I see, because see, he is she. Jesus was able to utilize the power of the mother and change matter, heal the blind, raise the dead, walk on water. Matter was his playground because he understood the power of the mother, but he also knew how to access the spiritual fire. So he was working with both realms at the same time. And that's why he was able to vibrate with such high frequencies and high light and walk and talk the talk of a healer and a master. There are many people who did this.
I
Many.
think it's remarkable.
Me too, but I think that's the key, Wayne, is if we can't learn how to blend our unseen part with the seen part, you don't have the full power. But when I see you, you are the Jesus character. You are holding the divine feminine in you as equal and as powerful as your divine masculine. So you, to me, when I see you, you are the perfect example of the divine feminine standing in a divine masculine body. But I see you as so balanced in both.
Well, I'm pretty sexy, but anyway, I mean,
You just are. You just are, and you got it both. You got
oh yeah, man, yeah, sure. But so here's my point. Here's my question to you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you came into this realm, you came in feminine. I mean, that is to me, we all start out as feminine. All humans do. It's only in that last 6 weeks is it determined who's going to be who. And the fact that I find it's even more interesting as I keep on reading this Mother Goddess book is that the interesting thing about the feminine, it does try to devour the male. And it's only when the male excretes this protein that makes it basically anti-feminine that it's allowed to pass through. I mean, you could get into some spiritual things on that one. I'm going, okay, now wait a minute. I'm in the temple because that's what the sperm is at. It's in the temple, but now I'm somehow becoming self-aware and I'm excreting a defense mechanism, and the goddess is granted me passage on into which would be the fallopian tubes, which eventually would be, and I'm reading this and I'm going, yeah, this may be happening physically, but I really sense that there is something in a spiritual realm that this is as big as life really gets. I mean, anyway.
Right. And there's something about those membranes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Around the cell membrane is the memory brain that goes into that conscious being. Yeah, you're onto something with that. It is, Wayne.
I read this book and it's from a male's perspective, it begins to really show me that we got it so wrong on the other side. I mean, I think that's what's going to show most people into shock. They're going to go, where's the white-headed dude with the beard, man?
Right.
And what you see is this goddess. I think she is, I know what they describe in the book of Revelation. But you know what? That's gross. That to me is completely deprived of any feminine quality at all. And I don't think that that's the way it is. I refuse to accept it, although I did believe it for nearly 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I love to look at the Egyptian stuff when the goddess, because it's some of the earliest stuff that happened. And you look at Nut, which is the goddess of the sky, and she has the stars in her belly. That's to me what I see as the goddess. I see her carrying the stars in her body, and the whole universe is in her womb. That's what I see for goddess.
And as much as the Mesoamerican history in the archaeological record shows that their belief systems were, well, they were pretty intense. But it is interesting because at first I thought it was completely absent of the feminine, but actually it's not. There is much like Kali, she both gives birth and then consumes and destroys and gives birth.
Right, because I said she's actually matter herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And matter is an entropy system. It gives birth to life and then it degenerates down so it can become the fertilizer to sustain. And it puts memory into the soil, into the soil. This is, I'm telling you, this is a physical body that we're on, which is the earth. And the earth is but a cell inside the body of the mother. It's that she's that
And
big.
isn't it interesting that, Kali is the goddess of CERN?
Yes.
Did you know that?
Well, yes, because see,
Yeah,
they have
she's
to
wow.
they have to do the polar opposite of the expression of the goddess, and they're using it as artificial harp. Think about
So
it.
is this the battle, Trina? Is this truly the battle? We hear this battle of good and evil, but the more and more, good is, well, what standard are you using? Whose definition?
Stupid trap. It's another
Yeah, I
trap
mean,
vision.
maybe it's the male and the feminine. I mean, this is my question to you as a woman, as the feminine, because y'all are connected to this. I'm sure afterwards, and when I leave this plane, that may in fact happen. But here's the thing, and maybe it's just me, I'm speaking as I'm thinking.
Uh-huh.
It seems that for you as a woman, as a girl, that there has been something taken away from your gender. And my question is, how do you as a woman deal with that understanding that the feminine has basically on a second tier? And you see it in religion, you even see it in New Age.
I think like when I really think about that question, the first thought that went to my mind was that my soul knows that it's absolutely wrong.
Okay, thank you. That's
That's
an
what
honest answer. I appreciate
that's what
that.
I just feel it in my gut. That's bullshit. It starts a fire in my belly. Like that's false. It's just false. Yeah. False. Yeah.
And you
Makes
grow now. How do you deal with that as a child? Because obviously, adolescence,
I beat up the boys. I got on a dirt bike at age 5. I started working on cars when I was 16 and I said, really? Try me. Let's go. And a lot of women do that because we do have that. That's not true inside of us. It's a primal gut response. It's like, do you not know what we do? We are life. We
our
give it
next door
all.
neighbors who were Pentecostal, but Annette and Anita, and Annette was a tomboy. I mean, I
Me
saw
too.
her I saw her knock a kid out. Just
Great. I took down the bully in 6th
cool.
grade. I did. I beat up the school bully. This kid was way bigger than me.
And she was, it was a real difficult time for myself as a child. And she was really someone that, there was a point where I really didn't see her as a girl, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a
She was
comrade.
like
She was
one of the guys. Yeah. She
yeah,
could beat
yeah.
the boys.
Well, and the
Yeah.
fact that she fought better than most of the boys that were out there.
Right. Because of that. See, it's that passion. It's that will. Oh,
But
man.
that kind of makes sense, in a lot of ways. I was telling I don't know if you heard, when I was a time I was a wrangler, and down in Texas, trail rides are a real big thing.
Yeah.
You have the Salt Lick Trail Ride, which is the big one, and the one that I rode on was the San Jacinto Trail Ride. My point is that there is where I really saw the power of the feminine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, you see it. I
Watch
mean,
a woman give birth. I mean, really game over, man.
did that once, and
Ah, that is a whole new level of what you will go through to be that Stargate. I was like, oh boy, what did I just sign up for?
what
Woohoo.
was it? The comedian I heard, he said he was there with his wife while she was giving birth, and he said, and then she yells out that my mother was not married when I was born. And yeah. And let me
So
tell you, I
that
mean, right there is just, for any dude, I mean, game over. I mean, you just shut up, pick up your marbles and
Gaia,
go home.
Gaia beat up a school bully too. You are
Who
my kind
did? Who
of
did that,
person.
Gaia?
Gaia. I'm like, yes, Gaia. Ooh, yes.
I could see
High
that.
five that one, girl. Love it. I love it.
Oh, I'm kidding you. I mean, it was
Me
classic.
that
I
too.
mean,
Always a tomboy. See,
yeah,
that's why
yeah,
these
yeah.
girls are all here.
Uh,
They're powerful, powerful women. Oh, you guys are
no
awesome.
doubt about it. I mean,
You make my warrior wings flutter, girl. So thank you. Oh my gosh. Love you.
I could only imagine that if an individual walked into this soul tribe with, let's say, not a fair and balanced view. I mean, it's like slaughter to the fodder,
I was
right?
gonna say they'd be consumed pretty quickly.
Woo! That's all I got to say, man. Don't mess with me.
Enough said. Yeah. But
Oh,
yeah,
you
like
see, this is why the legends of the Amazonian warriors are. I think the Amazonians learned from the Atlanteans. I have no doubt that the women were extremely powerful, because if you're an advanced culture, why wouldn't the feminine be much more heralded on, if not an equal, slightly above?
you know what I just saw when you said that, Wayne? The ancient warrior women's were able to control nature. The griffins and the dragons would bow before them. They were
Mm.
connected in a different way to nature, and that's why they were so honored, and that's why they were so powerful. They could turn nature against you.
Interesting you
Whoa,
mention it,
that's
because the
cool.
book I'm reading, The Mother Goddess, they bring out from the anthropological record that history shows it was the the women. They were
Yeah.
in fact more the hunter than the men. The men were there to do primarily exactly what men are supposed to do. They use their backs. That's why
Yeah.
we are in the species. But they
Yeah.
were saying that in hunting,
Uh-huh.
that the female warrior was exceptional at, get this, of somehow communicating to their prey in a
Yes.
manner that the death was one of the animal
Honor.
giving itself up.
Honor. It was
Yeah,
honor. And we would take the ones that were sick or the ones that were injured, and the animals would literally tell us which one was to be chosen and sacrificed
amazing
at
story.
that moment.
Yes,
Feel
yeah,
that in my heart. I know
yeah.
this is true. I can feel it as I
And
know.
this has been eliminated. It's amazing how much that, as I continue to go through this journey and I'm reading this, and I have to tell you, with a lot of these angels, I look at them and I can clearly see that I think there is a male and a female.
I think absolutely. And
Thank you.
I think they're both, and they're just like us. We pick which costume you want to
Yeah.
wear. You're both. You don't matter.
Yes.
But when you put on your costume, you're going to identify more strongly with that aspect. But nonetheless, you're still both.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. So you can pick whatever one you want. And sometimes I think nature might throw you for a loop, and something might happen to where you were going to go in as this, but you ended up as this. So I think there's always the roll the dice factor in nature too, because you have that 10% window of, oh my, we don't know how that happened. And that's consistent through nature. So the oh
And
my
then we
God.
get right back to this whole, the bee, the book of the bee, that
Yep.
when I think about bee, I always think of collective consciousness,
Yes, I do too.
because that's what it is.
And I think it's the one that's nature, and it's the organic, feminine, beautiful part. And then we have the opposite, which is the male, artificial,
Hmm.
controlled hive mind. So you have both aspects. They're the same thing. They're just being expressed. One's negative, one's positive. It's so simple. Everything here is dual. And I think we only win when we can collapse them into each other through knowing both of them and being neutral and making them be at peace. Be still and know that I am.
And you see that's where it gets into the whole thing that when hey, Jules is here. Hello,
Hi,
Jules. We love you. Thank you for your gifts and your talents, my dear.
always.
I'm trying to make
That's
everybody I
yeah.
can a moderator. So if you're here, we love you for it.
Yes, we do.
And so thank you. And thank you for the great laugh. That, laughter doeth the heart as a good medicine, folks.
Absolutely. Such beautiful truth.
Yeah. And
Beautiful.
even this morning when I found out that they said, well, you can't do anything for the 7-day penalty box, and I said, yeah, so how do I do this? I was in the,
No.
well, I was in the shower and I said, all right, so Steiger, what do you do, dude? And, the question became really not a question. It was like, well, I'm going to transmute this. I'm going to take this, what was supposed to be a negative thing. And so you start singing, like I'm sure David Castle does this all the time.
Yeah.
Yes. And, within 5 minutes, the energy had completely changed and solutions began to pop up. So there.
They do.
So how is everybody?
Hi, Soul Tribe.
You see,
Joyce,
I
are you
love this.
serious? Joyce, are you serious? Is crying. She's like, I lost my
Hey,
wrench.
no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
No, wait, it's gonna put it right back, Joyce. Don't cry. We got you, love. We got you.
It's I'm trying to drive the bus and
Truth seekers there
yeah,
too.
there we go. I
You
think I get
guys,
everybody.
so amazing because you are a backbone. Wayne's making y'all moderators. Can you believe it? What a privilege.
Yeah, I mean, this is the hardcore group. I mean,
What a privilege and what an honor. And thank you for being here because you guys are the backbone.
love you,
This
man.
shows it right here.
Yeah,
This totally shows it.
it was like, well,
Speaking of Atlantis, can I read you something a little bit interesting?
sure, absolutely.
Okay. This is called The Secret and the Truth of Aegis by Mark Cordova. And this is a very interesting little book that kind of really twisted my brain because I kept seeing the whole triangles going into each other as the masculine and the feminine making man. And I kept seeing all this. This guy broke it down to what I was seeing in my mind and made the geometry all make sense to me. So, but he was talking about trapped in light. So this is page 18 of Mark's book. So when Yaldabaoth came forth out of ignorance from the pleroma, trapped light went in with him. The same trapped light is all the children of light, or the children of mind, or the children of the Father, or the children of man, who are in bodies of human beings that live and die on this earth. Until we become free from this material universe and its flesh, we will continue to live and die here over and over again. Believe it or not, you can only leave from here while you are in a living body. How can you go to an eternal life from death? This makes no sense because life begets life and death begets death. That is why he who believeth upon me dies shall live again, and he who believeth upon me lives shall never die. So, material realm and where we come from are two different things. But I think that being a part of the material realm is a very great gift to increase your memory, your information. And that, I think, is the treasures of heaven. The experiences that we accumulate in the material realm become deep gnosis because nothing's real until you feel it. And when we
Hmm?
feel it, it anchors us into a depth, a code of learning that's so much deeper and so much more full of emotion, energy in motion. So that emotion is the frequency code that you carry beyond this flesh, beyond this existence. And you take that back into the spiritual part of you that wants to create again. So, material realm, it's a powerful thing, and this is the mother's realm. But we come from both, and we are part of both. And I think the integration of those two aspects of what we are is the ultimate key for freedom for all of it, is knowing that it is both. But we can manifest here through the unseen into the seen. Like that scripture you always talk about, the faith of the things
Mhm.
not seen. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it, Wayne. That's it. That's the magic. Why you came to this place was to bring the unseen into the seen and do it on purpose.
Now faith is the evidence of things not seen, the evidence of the substance of things hoped for. And it's that substance. I mean, that's when
Yes,
I learned,
invisible.
yeah, if I could have just, I had an understanding of it. I just had, it's like, I had sulfur, I had saltpeter, I had charcoal, and, I had all three, but I just saw them as separate components. Now that I'm outside, I realized that what I possessed was the power of being able to use substance of an unseen realm and combine it to make that explosive reality of material, whatever it is that you wish.
Manifestation. Yes,
Now, I believe you can do that as well in the moment when death comes. I think that you can transmute the Old Testament saints, and I have an individual over in India that showed me their the guy in the village, which I guess in them would be a yogi. That it was amazing. He came out. The village gathered around him. He laid his hands on his children and what have you. Then he walked into his hut, which literally was a hut, and put on a shawl, got into a lotus position, and
ascended out.
ascended out.
Yep.
Just
And that's
ascended
it's a frequency. That's all it is.
Yep.
And I literally think that frequency is
I
such a
think that's the way
powerful
we're
light.
supposed to go, Trina.
I think it is too, but I don't even know that it is quite necessary.
It's not taught.
Right.
It's not taught.
I think that's
We don't know how to die.
Yes, you're right.
We're so afraid of it that if we have just embraced it, that when we've had enough of this realm, we can go in and will that moment.
But see, this is how they've completely twisted the entire world. Look at right now what's happening with the fear of dying over a cold.
Isn't that the truth?
They
Yes.
don't want you to understand death, because if you do, you would not fear it. And if they didn't have you afraid to die, then what could they have you afraid of? Nothing.
You see,
It's the ultimate.
boy, I'm going to tell you what, that is something I'm going to look into this. I'm going to find out how it's done.
Yeah, it's very difficult in its frequency and its vibration, its breath, but literally it's a frequency. You have to be able to vibrate the body to such a degree, and it's a love-based frequency. One of the earliest parts that I had seen through my imagination was when I was reading the book, The Celestion Prophecy.
Yes.
And at the end, remember how they started turning invisible, Wayne?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're not dropping your body. You're just not seen anymore because you were so spirit filled. You literally go invisible. So they're not ascending maybe out of here. We maybe just can't see them anymore.
In the teachings of the Far East Masters, the same thing. They
Yes.
got to the point where they were able to literally
Visible.
transmute their bodies. Yeah.
You got it. And they could bilocate and manifest the
Yeah.
body wherever they wanted it to. And then they could do it again. And that's about particle displacement. You're literally altering matter through spiritual fire, which is light. And that light changes the light of the material realm because you're dealing with spiritual light. It's a different kind of light. And I think that light makes you go invisible. And that's why they say, oh, this is not my house. This is not my kingdom. Where I come from, you cannot go and you cannot see. That's why, because it's a different kind of light.
I agree.
We have both. We have both. Woo-hoo.
Well, the hour's gone by like that.
Are you serious? Right? Oh my gosh.
It has. And I've got things I have. Well, everybody. Trina,
So
this
fun.
has been so much fun. Listen, I know Thanksgiving is on Thursday. Have a blessed and a safe one. I may or may not be on tomorrow. It depends, If I am, I'll be over here. But
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
And
Well,
everyone,
so if
thank
we can work
you.
it out, Wayne, we would love to see you because
Well,
die
listen, the other one will be back on in 7 days. I mean, I didn't do anything I felt was worth that, but hey,
No.
We always have nothing, the way I look at it, I always come out on top. I am never beneath. I am always the head and not the tail. No weapon formed against me can prosper, and every action or every word spoken against me shall be devoid of any power to harm me. Boom.
Oh, I agree.
It's in the heart, man. It's in there, man.
Be it. Yes.
Yeah. All right, everyone. We love you all. Thank you so much, Trina. I love you, dear. Thank you. We'll continue this.
We're
So
diving deep, and that's how we get it done.
yeah. So much love, everyone. We will see you very soon, is the best way I'm going to put that. All right, everyone. Bye-bye.